A single ship cuts the Mediterranean at dawn. Its hull breathes mist, its crew hauls cedar planks glinting with salt. The harbour is a rough crescent of rock and timber. On the headland, a tell rises, stacked houses, temple ruins, the scattered columns of a Roman arcade. Fishermen drag nets. A priest lights a dawn lamp in a low sanctuary. A child peers into a shaft where a sarcophagus once slept, its carved letters whispering names that will outlast empires. That promontory has 1,000 names. The Greeks called it Byblos. The locals call it Jbeil. To the Egyptians it was the city that supplied the wood for royal fleets and tombs. To the world of letters it offered a set of signs that would change how humans record speech. To archaeologists it is one of the longest-lived stories on Earth. People living, trading, worshipping here for millennia. This is the tale of Byblos, city of cedar, sarcophagi, and alphabets, where the sea and mountain met to make history. The headland that became Byblos is not a random choice. It sits where the mountain, Mount Lebanon, drops toward the sea, where small coves shelter boats and streams give the ground fresh water. On maps it is a pinprick, on the ground it is a pocket of resources, fish, shellfish, reeds, and, most crucially, the cedar forests that clot the mountains behind it. People noticed. They came first in small numbers, sometimes as seasonal visitors, sometimes staying longer. Archaeology now suggests human activity here in the earliest Holocene and likely before. Excavations and surveys point to occupation episodes between c. 8800 and 7000 BCE, with more consistent habitation traces from c. 5000 BCE onward. Tiny fragments, pottery shards, stone tools, hearths, and food debris show incremental changes from forager camps into settled villages. The tell itself is a record, layer upon layer of mud, brick and ash, floors, and pottery, like pages in an ancient book. This is where the story of urban Byblos begins, not as a sudden foundation, but as accumulation. People kept returning to the same safe anchorage, dug wells, planted gardens, and left behind the small, stubborn things that tell us who they were: seeds charred on hearths, fish bones, and the faint outlines of houses pressed into the earth. These early years matter because they set Byblos on a trajectory, coastal, connected, and cedar-rich, that would shape its fortunes for millennia. By the 3rd millennium BCE something changed. Small village clusters become larger. The promontory is reshaped, stone foundations appear, the first urban strata build higher. Byblos develops the features of a port city. Boats no longer hug the shore for seasonal shelter, they deliberate land here, laden with goods, copper, pottery, and cedar planks. The cedar of Lebanon is a commodity that rewrites geopolitics. It is straight-grained, fragrant, resinous, ideal for shipbuilding, palaces, and royal tombs far away. Egypt, hungry for wood to build temples and royal barges, reaches across the sea for this timber. Byblos becomes a gateway. The mountain cedar meets the sea. The evidence for this growing trade is unmistakable. On the headland, archaeologists have found early Bronze Age fortifications, harbor installations, and imported goods. Egyptian pottery, lapis lazuli, metalwork, objects that testify to exchange with the wider Eastern Mediterranean and Egypt in particular. It is in this age we see Byblos step out of local life and into long-distance networks. It's no longer simply a village but a node in a regional web. At the same time, local elites or king groups invest in monumental burials. The ground near the promontory yields shaft tombs and chamber graves, some simple, some richly furnished. In the mid-2nd millennium BCE, these tombs were among the most spectacular finds in the Levant, but their antecedents, earlier burial practices, show a rising concern with display, memory, and distant relations. In the space between sea and mountain, a community is learning how to speak in materials, how to send cedar across oceans, and how to receive exotic gifts in return. If Byblos had a moment of special brightness, it is the 2nd and mid-2nd millennium BCE. From the Middle Bronze Age onward, the city rose as a major Canaanite seaport. In the late Bronze and Iron Ages, it became a critical center of what we later call Phoenicia. French excavations in the early 20th century, most famously by Pierre Montet in the 1920s and later Maurice Dunn, and through the mid-20th century, unearthed a royal necropolis in the cliffs and a sequence of tombs rich with gifts. Montet's discoveries in 1922 and the subsequent systematic work exposed shaft graves and royal chamber tombs that contained Canaanite pottery, Egyptian gifts, and even alabaster and faience objects bearing hieroglyphs. These finds testify to intense connections. Egyptian pharaohs sent finely made objects in exchange for cedar and other commodities. Gifts from Amenemhat III and IV, for instance, were among the goods discovered in tomb contexts, a clear signal that Byblos was on the Egyptian radar. In the late Bronze Age and into the Iron Age, Byblos became firmly identified with the Phoenicians, seafaring, merchant groups whose language and seafaring expertise spread across the Mediterranean. The city's kings ruled from a palatial center, and its harbor became a hub for ships laden with raw materials, timber, resins, and metal. The archaeological layers show continuity. Buildings replaced earlier structures, temples rise and fall, and in the 10th to 9th centuries BCE the famous Ahiram sarcophagus is carved, an object whose inscription is one of the earliest full examples of the Phoenician script. The Ahiram inscription is not merely funerary stone. It is a breakthrough in the history of writing, a bridge from a set of local signs to an alphabetic system that will seed Greek, Aramaic, and Latin letter forms. Byblos during this age is bustling and cosmopolitan. Foreigners live and work here. Temple economies flourish, local cults intertwine with imported rituals. The royal necropolis provides a mirror, stone sarcophagi, gold inlays, and Egyptian-style artifacts showing the city's ability to attract and translate external prestige into local power. The Cedar trade sails on, the city prospers. But prosperity invites peril. The Late Bronze Age collapse that swept the eastern Mediterranean around c. 1200 BCE unsettled Byblos as it did other centers. Trade routes frayed. New groups and raiders moved across the Levant. Yet Byblos demonstrated a remarkable resilience. It did not fall silent, instead, it adapted. In the Iron Age, the city aligned with new powers. Assyrian and later Babylonian influences left administrative marks. At times Byblos pays tribute, at others it asserts local autonomy. The Persian conquest brings shifts. The Hellenistic period folds the city into Alexander's world. Byblos becomes a melee of cultures, Phoenician foundations under the overlay of Greek language and Roman urban planning. The Roman arcade, the columns you see standing today by the harbor, are a late punctuation in a story that had many chapters. Each layer, Assyrian, Persian, Hellenistic, Roman, left its architecture and inscriptions. The coast accumulated new floors, new walls. People kept living. The city's identity mutates without vanishing. Natural forces also shaped Byblos' fate. Shorelines change, silting alters harbors, earthquakes rock the coast. The relationship with the cedar forest that once made Byblos powerful evolved as timber was used and overused. Political upheavals, economic shifts, and environmental changes all compounded to transform the city's power and reach. Through these centuries, the tell recorded every modification: wall lines redrawn, sanctuaries repurposed, houses rebuilt. Byblos' modern life as an archaeological site began in earnest in the early 20th century. In 1921 to 1924, archaeologists like Pierre Montet and his team started systematic excavations after a chance cliff collapse revealed burial shafts in 1922. French archaeologists uncovered the royal necropolis, tombs that offered a dazzling material culture and direct links to Egypt. The discovery of Egyptian gifts and the very architecture of the tombs demonstrated Byblos' role in the Bronze Age world system. Maurice Dunan's long campaigns from the 1920s into the 1960s and beyond further mapped the tale, exposing house plans, temples, and burials across layers. Dunan divided the site's stratigraphy into coherent sequences and published his multi-volume reports, an enormous contribution. His work, however, was conducted in an era when excavation techniques prioritized large trenches and visible grandeur. Documentation standards improved later, but Dunant's finds provided the raw material for future interpretation. From the late 20th century into the present, archaeological methods matured. Radiocarbon dating placed layers against absolute time, pottery typologies refined relative chronologies, and analysis of isotope signatures and botanical remains fleshed out diets and trade. Modern teams re-examine previously recovered items, reassessing them in light of new scientific tools. Carbon dating clarified when particular tombs were in use. Metallurgical studies traced the sources of bronze. Epigraphers retranslated inscriptions as our understanding of Phoenician, Egyptian, and local scripts advanced. Today, the UNESCO listing and active conservation efforts protect the tell. The royal necropolis, the harbour installations, and the Roman colonnade give visitors visual anchors. But for specialists, the story lives in the small things: a pot rim that indicates trade, a wood sample that dates a beam, an inscription that hints at a dynasty. The modern verdict on Byblos is one of continuous significance. Its archaeology ties generations to the sea and the mountain, and the site remains central to debates about early urbanism, trade networks, and the origins of alphabetic writing. What does Byblos leave us? First, Cedar. The mountains would reshaped ancient architecture and navies, and through trade it shaped geopolitics from Egypt to the Aegean. Second, connectivity. Byblos is an example of how maritime exchange knit communities together well before large empires centralized power. Third, literacy. The inscriptions and tombs reveal a progression toward alphabetic practices, local signs becoming ordered systems that would inform Phoenician script, the ancestor of many alphabets. The Ahiram sarcophagus inscription is a powerful emblem of that shift, a text carved in stone that signals the move toward linear, alphabetic notation. But the city's human legacy is quieter, more stubborn. Ordinary lives lived within larger systems: fishermen, timber haulers, potters, temple attendants, children running across docks. The archaeological layers at Byblos are a palimpsest of those daily acts. They show us that history is not simply the tale of empires, but also of steady labor, trade, faith, and adaptation. As the sun sets over the Mediterranean, the tell stands like a book whose pages 1,000 hands wrote, folded, and rewrote. We cannot read every line perfectly, but we can still feel the rhythm: ships that left with cedar, tombs that closed with gifts, alphabets that traveled outwards on the wind. In the harbor the same sea murmurs as it did for millennia. Boats still ply the curve of the bay. The columns and sarcophagi stand like punctuation marks on a long sentence. Byblos did not invent civilization alone, nor did it disappear in silence. It was a node, a persistent one, where humans learned to trade, to write, to bury their dead with words, and to live close to the sea. If you listen closely at dusk, you can hear the timber creak and the ghostly echo of a shaper's adze, the rhythm of oars, the whisper of letters shifting into place. That is Byblos' enduring song, a coastal city that taught the Mediterranean how to speak.